Right, it is 2 minutes past. I think it's a good time to get started. For those of you who are just joining us, my name is Richard. I'm the CEO of Baker Baines. And today we're going to be spending some time talking about an Autodesk learner management system that is purpose-built to help your organizations master your team performance and improve project delivery. And Natalie is the business development manager for CAD Learning, and Natalie is driving the slides for me at the office. So I have to. This is interesting in terms of remote controlling, but you know, this is all exciting in the times of COVID. So I think from an agenda perspective today, what you'll see is we've got quite a packed agenda. We're wanting to cover as much as possible. From a housekeeping rules perspective, if I can just ask that any questions are posted in the questions section of the functionality on the system. We will be handling those later down in the agenda. From a chat perspective or a chat function perspective, if you want to chat to any of us, please pop that into the chat box. And you know, for the rest of you, let's just share some information. From an agenda perspective, we are doing an introduction. Then I'm going to hand over to Natalie, who's going to take us through the learner management system itself. What is CAD Learning? What is CAD Learning as an enterprise platform? And then we're going to spend more time looking at the challenges that you probably face on a daily basis, specifically looking at things related to people, process, and technology. And you know, any organization, and specifically me from a business ownership perspective, I'm always looking at the combination of people, process, and technology, and how best do you bring those three components together. We're then going to spend a little bit of time just understanding what some of our customers have done from a CAD Learning perspective, and then we'll have a conclusion and questions and then a close. So with that said, a little bit more about Baker Baines. Baker Baines is, before I get to that, you would all know, most of you would have probably seen this invitation from an email that you have been sent or from our LinkedIn page. We have a great YouTube channel which is packed with technical information and other exciting webinars. So please go and like and subscribe on our LinkedIn platform as well as our YouTube platform. So a little bit more about Baker Baines. We are about 6.5 years old, and for us, we wake up every morning and we think about the problems that you face, and we try to solve those problems through digital transformation to help you design and make a better world, because all of you are in architecture, engineering, construction, process plant, manufacturing, those types of companies, and all of you design and make a better world, and our role is to help you overcome problems that you face in doing so. Moving on from a Baker Baines perspective, we really have divided the company into 4 parts, and this is to just give you a bit of an idea of who we are. We have a business process improvement division. We have a survey and design hardware consultancy. We have a design software consultancy, which is really where our roots come from, as well as a blended learning provider. Blended learning is something that's very close to my heart, and we were the first partner in Africa to bring to market a blended learning solution. We represent some amazing brands, you know, those brands, if we just move on to the next slide, you'll see that those brands are Topcon, Leica, IDAS, which is a locally developed piece of software for the civil engineering industry, ClearEdge, which is a Topcon product, but more importantly, from today's perspective, it's about CAD Learning and this concept of blended learning and a classroom and virtual training environment, which is something that, given COVID, is something that I think we're all needing to look at the moment. Moving on, I think it's really exciting for me to be able to welcome Natalie to the call, because we've only recently decided to go full-time into focusing on this type of learner management solution. Natalie has a wealth of experience with educational institutions, and I know is bursting with excitement to take you through what we're going to show you today. So Natalie, without any further ado, over to you.
Yes, thank you, Richard. I'm very excited to be co-presenting with Richard today, so let's get started. Sorry, I think I was muted there. Yes, I'm very excited to be co-presenting with Richard today, so let's get started.
Nats, I think now you're on mute.
Hello, there, can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Perfect. Okay, so as I was saying, what is a learner management system? On its basic level, a learner management system is a software that focuses on e-learning and training processes within an organizational or a educational institution. But the main purpose of a learner management system is not just to enhance the learning process, but it's also to be used as a tool for when it comes to gap skills analysis, management, assessments, appraisal with your employees, tracking and documenting, maintaining employee records, planning and execution, as well as reporting. Now, when it comes to the industries that require Autodesk users such as yourself, the benefits for a learner management system is there to help you enhance your team performance as well as your project delivery. So what do these benefits include? When it comes to the people of your organization, a learner management system is extremely engaging and motivating. You know, lots of people have unique ways of learning, and you need to enhance that because if you have different aspects of learning, people can learn better. When it comes to centralized learning, everything is in one location. You have multiple users on one platform at one time. You can evaluate and track performance, and also it is an interactive environment that improves interaction online when people are far away. In terms of the processes in your organization, there's tracking and reporting. You can access those records. When it comes to the learning process, it's really very user-friendly, easy to use, easy to onboard, and it has the help system built right into the system. And also, of course, it is a reduce in cost and time because you don't need to travel to a venue for training. It's all just in one spot. When it comes to the technology in your organization, you know, it makes your learning process future ready, and it also makes it interactive and fun for the user. In terms of adoption, it really is a faster, better, and easy way to adopt. And also it's easy upgrades because everything is there at one time and all users get the upgrade information at once. It's also anytime, anywhere, and its own paced. Now I'm going to show you a short video on CAD Learning. And
Natalie.
Yes.
The sound is really not great today. I think there must be some internet issues somewhere. So I think we'll just move on from the video.
Okay, we can also post a link to this video in the chat.
Great.
Okay, so, you know, therefore, what is CAD Learning? First of all, CAD Learning is not just a learner management system, it is also a content management system because it provides to-the-point content solutions for management, and it's also obviously an online training platform. It's an Autodesk authorized publisher. The certified content is very vast. It has about 35,000 tutorials and over 40 Autodesk products. It's involved with assessments and customized learning paths. It identifies knowledge gaps within the user and helps fill those knowledge gaps. And also it takes away the redundant learning. It's a productivity tool that you can use through the plugin, and also it's a safety net. It's anywhere and anytime, and you can use it through the app. There are two different consumption platforms or ways that you can use CAD Learning. There's the individual access that you can get through our Baker Baines CAD Learning website. And then there is the enterprise platform, which we are going to be focusing and discussing today. All right, so with the CAD Learning Enterprise platform, what does it include? So it includes analytics and reporting. You can see real-time dashboard, you can export data and track productivity. It's also in terms of assessments, it's knowledge and skill checks. You have over 10,000 questions and stock, custom and pre-hire assessments. It's an administration tool. You can use multiple single sign-on options. You can manage your groups and your projects, and you can also customize your portal appearance. Targeted learning paths, it's automatic, or individualized. You can also focus on knowledge gaps, product and workflow based. Content authorizing, you can create different playlists, create searchable content, and build custom courseware. In terms of retention, you can watch, hear, read, and also you can track the progress on your dashboard and follow along with exercise files. So when it comes to the challenges that your organization or Autodesk user organizations are faced with, when we look at the people in your organization, the main challenges that arise there are, there is a skills shortage in South Africa, and unfortunately, if you employ an unskilled employee, there is a detrimental effect on your productivity and your cost. In terms of hiring, onboarding, and upskilling, you need to make sure that you're hiring the right person for the position. Once you do have the right person for the position, how do you make sure that you're not retraining their knowledge that they already know? And also when it comes to upskilling your current employees, most organizations say that they only have about 20 minutes a day to spend on training while still keeping their employees billable. Now, how do you maintain and progress with training with that minimal time? With employee retention, unfortunately, 60% of employees actually leave their position because they feel they cannot grow in the organization. So it is very, very important to upskill your employees and grow them. And the challenges that come with traditional classroom training. Unfortunately, it's location bound, it is expensive, it does not meet the current COVID-19 restrictions, or most of the time. And then also, it's not always effective. 40% of what is learned in classroom training is only kept within the first 72 hours. When it comes to the processes in your organization, productivity interruptions is definitely a reality and a challenge, especially in South Africa. We have load shedding, not all people have access to internet. So how do you keep your teams productive when they are offline? Another issue or challenge is shared knowledge. So if an employee is working from home or even in the office and they don't have they need to find a specific content or knowledge, they need to go ask someone. Sometimes it's frustrating to find that information. And let's say, you have 10 Autodesk users. If one Autodesk user asks another one a question, then you have 20% of your team offline or not productive. While we are managing work from home teams, one of the disadvantages of managing a work from home team is that lack of one-on-one interaction. If you're not interacting with your team on a daily basis, how do you see what is challenging for them? How do you see, what they're struggling with and where you can help them? In terms of project management, One of the challenges is making sure that you find the right person in your team for the current project. And then lastly, on a support level, it's extremely frustrating for IT teams to keep on answering the same questions, redundant questions. But on the end user side, it's also extremely frustrating and time wasting when they cannot find the question that they are looking for. When we have a look at our technology, in our growing world and growing advancements in technologies, how do you know that you have the right software for your organization? In terms of adoption, if adoption is not done correctly, it can be time consuming and it can waste a lot of money. So you need to make sure that it is done correctly. And in terms of the bell curve, if you think of the bell curve of adoption, it's extremely important to make sure that you are investing in employees that will be able to grow and develop with technology. When we have IT teams and teams working from home, how do we know that our teams have the right technology, the right cloud-based solutions, and also the right accessibility? How can they get to the information that they need? And then lastly, of course, is the challenge that we have is our clients' expectations. They expect us to deliver amazing results in short periods of time, and they will go to an organization that can give them those results. Now, I'm sure you will agree with me that we do need to find a solution to these challenges. And luckily, with CAD Learning, there is an enterprise solution, and especially when it comes to the people in your organization. CAD Learning offers assessments, and why this is so valuable is because if we look at when we hire someone, CAD Learning actually offers pre-hire assessments that you can actually send to external users without having to load them onto the system, so it's easy to use. And then from there, you can actually have a look at what they got right, what they got wrong, and you actually can see, do they actually know the knowledge that they put on their CV? And you can also see what candidate has the best knowledge. When it comes to onboarding, you can create playlists with content for new hires. So you can eliminate redundant learning by making sure that you don't reteach a new hire information that they already know. It's customized learning for what their skill gap requires. When it comes to upskilling current employees, you can create roles and goals for them targeted towards each knowledge gaps and help them fill those knowledge gaps. There is also Autodesk certification preparation. There's stock certification paths that align with Autodesk certification exams, which is very, very important and very useful. You can align those roles and goals for your employees and users. When it comes to knowledge retention, so CAD Learning is a great companion to in-person training. You can use it hand-to-hand because it also helps with quick references and ongoing learning to help the user get to that 100% knowledge retention is what we are looking for. When it comes to managing projects, CAD Learning project placement functionality is really useful because it can take all the data that is already in the system and match up the best employee that you need for the project. In terms of employee retention, you really want to limit that churn. So you want to upskill your employees and make sure that you are growing them in your institution and continually refining their skills. Okay, so over here, I'm going to show you just a short video on how the assessments work within the portal. And I hope that there we go. All right, so as you can see, this is a multiple choice question. Assessment rather, and what's great is that at the end when it gives you the answers over here, it will give you what you got right and what you got incorrect. So at the end you are able to pinpoint and drill down to that specific content. If you got something incorrect, you can then bridge that knowledge gap. When it comes to the processes in your organization, CAD Learning will assist with lowering productivity interruptions, especially when it comes to managing teams from home. It's easy to manage by pulling reports, making sure that people are being productive and working on the system, and also you can see, are they upskilling? It's also easy to integrate and export into Excel. In terms of the plugin, CAD Learning Assist is answers at the point to need, so that users don't have to waste time looking for the answers or content. They can get it within the plugin. And also there's the full CAD Learning library that's available right inside Assist. In terms of product help, there's over 35,000 videos and over 40 Autodesk products. So there's a lot of help available, and also A to Z training product support. When it comes to project management, you can standardize and repeat positions across projects. And then lastly, of course, training under COVID-19 restrictions. Training does not have to be put on hold. You can upskill and train your employees while still keeping them safe. All right, and this is also a short video on how the plugin CAD Learning Assist works. As you can see, the plugin is in the software on the left over here, and then on the left, on the other side of the screen, the tutorial video pops up, and you can actually watch the video while carrying on in the software, so you can do a step-by-step play and follow the video step by step. Okay, as you can see on the left, the tutorial is playing, and the user on the right is following. Perfect. And when it comes to your technology, there is the app. Sorry, I just see here. And this is a short video to show you how the app works. There's a little pop quiz that pops up that you can answer. To assess your current knowledge. Your roles and goals. Okay, so that just gives you an idea of how the app functions. All right, so how well used is CAD Learning in South Africa? So we do have several listed blue chip clients that obviously we cannot name now for confidentiality. And we also have over about 1,000 individual users. We are going to share a customer experience with you. Gerald Niederbar, he is a contract manager. We asked him a couple of questions, and the first question was basically what was the problem that your organization encountered at that point, and how did CAD Learning help you solve that problem? And he said, he had never received formal training on AutoCAD at that point, or had ever used AutoCAD at that point. But in his organization, he was getting more projects and it was growing, and he needed to upskill his knowledge. So at that point, he turned to YouTube, but he found that YouTube videos were a bit long, and also it took him about 30 minutes to find what he was looking for. And when he used CAD Learning, he found that he could get his information directly, and it was time saving. He also mainly used CAD Learning to focus on Fusion 360. Another question that we asked him is, were there any benefits using this platform for new employees or current employees? And he actually said because of all the new work his organization got, he had to hire a new employee. And the same thing, he wasn't familiar with Fusion 360 and he used CAD Learning, and CAD Learning helped him to onboard the new employee and also help with online collaboration when the employee worked from home. All right, so just to wrap up everything that I just said and to summarize it, we've gone through the challenges that an organization faces, and especially with the people in your organization. You get difficulties with skill shortage, difficulties in hiring, onboarding, and upskilling, with employee knowledge retention and employee retention. In terms of the processes, there's productivity interruptions, there's issues when you have to work from home, project management support, and then obviously with technology as well, there's onboarding, new technology advancements, and also the client's expectations. Now, all of these problems need a solution, and an Autodesk learner management solution such as CAD Learning system, such as CAD Learning, is a solution to all of these issues, because it really increases and helps you onboard and hire the correct employees, upskill your employees so that you can keep them and grow, so that they can grow with the company. It increases your productivity, and then of course, it helps you adopt technology faster and better. I just want to also just pinpoint and make my point a little bit more by talking about the learner methodology scorecard. So when we look at the three main platforms, which will be, your internet search, your traditional classroom training, and then an Autodesk learner management system such as CAD Learning, let's take a look at the depth of each platform. So internet searches can be distracted. There's a lot of information, and if you learn the incorrect information, it can be detrimental and costly to your company, and also dangerous. In terms of traditional classroom training, the fact is it's only one level of product offering and it's only for a few days. But when you look at an Autodesk learner management system like CAD Learning, there's over 3,000 tutorial videos that you can watch with over 40 different Autodesk products, and you don't get it for a few days. You get this product or the access to this platform for a whole year. In terms of the impact, and if we look at knowledge retention, like I said before, only 40% of what is learned stays in within the next 72 hours. That applies also with traditional classroom training. And when it comes to an Autodesk learner management system like CAD Learning, it's that tool that you need to use to get to that 100% knowledge retention that you are looking for. Accessibility. The internet, like I said, it is a distracted search. And like I said before, if you're offline and you don't have internet load shedding, it's also, an issue to try to get that internet. Traditional classroom training, there is those COVID-19 restrictions, and sometimes it's not possible to go and travel to an organization to train or venue. And with CAD Learning, you do get that targeted search, which speeds up the process and increases your productivity. The price? Well, you will need to have internet access. And in terms of traditional classroom training, it's plus minus approximate about 3,500 per user, and this is only for a couple of days. Whereas the Autodesk Learner Management System can range from about 650 to 2,650 per user. And remember, you get this for a whole year. So the amount of products and the information that you learn is a lot more. So, is this solution right for your organization? Now, as we see, maybe internet search, maybe not, because it's not the best solution. Sometimes classroom training isn't always as effective, where you get everything that you need in one accessible place online through the Autodesk Learner Management System of CAD Learning. So what's next? I will give you a 30-minute consultation to see where there's issues and problems that lie in your organization and how we can help you solve those problems through CAD Learning and through this Autodesk Learner Management System. You're more than welcome to contact me. My email address is over there. If you have any questions or for that free consultation, there's my LinkedIn profile as well. And also please note that we will have follow-up webinars, industry-focused webinars in the following dates. Each month, like for example, we will have architecture, engineering, and construction in September. We will have manufacturing and process plants in October, and then specifically for educational institutions, we will have it in November. All right, so I'm going to give the platform back to Richard so that he can go over some questions with you guys.
Thanks so much, Natalie. So CAD Learning is, I enjoy it. I think it's great, and I think it provides a lot of value for organizations such as yourselves. But I just thought to preempt some of your questions, let me go through some frequently asked questions that we have come across. The first is CAD Learning CPD accredited in South Africa? The short answer on that is not yet. And the reason for that is all of the professional bodies who require CPD authorization expect a standard course material to be used. Where, you know, the issue with CAD Learning is my course, my learning path would be different from another person's learning path. We are working with the professional bodies like South African Institute of Mechanical Engineers, SAIC, as well as SIRE, to figure out, you know, if we were to package some of the information in a particular way, would that mean that it's CPD accredited? Another one of the questions that I often field is, can I have more than one user login with my details? I guess it's a little bit like your Netflix login. When I log into Netflix, I see things that are customized to me, and when one of my friends logs into Netflix, they would see things that are more customized to them. So CAD Learning is done on a named user perspective, so it's not recommended that you share the login information, because my assessment that I've done would be different from somebody else's assessment. Can I upload customized content into my enterprise portal? Absolutely. So one of the main benefits of an enterprise portal from a CAD Learning perspective is, firstly, it's as cheap as chips, basically. I mean, apart from the fact that it's like, I think 1,500 Rand per user per year, you are able to upload individual and specific content to your organization. So if you've got specific Revit families, if you've got BIM execution plan, if you've got particular manufacturing processes, you're able to house that content inside CAD Learning. Is this renewable on an annual basis? Yes, it would renew, much like your Autodesk licensing. You pay up front for a 12-month period. Is this accessible offline? Sadly, now it isn't. It did used to be available offline when there was a lot of content, but CAD Learning have had to introduce a lot more innovative structures in terms of AI and customized learning, and unfortunately that requires continued internet access. But if, you know, from an internet usage perspective, it's not particularly heavy. If you've got a 10 meg line, you should be fine. So those, I wanted to just preempt some of the questions that some of you might ask, but we're open for questions. So, you know, feel free to post your questions in the chat box or in the questions function, and we're really ready to answer anything. I think I might need to, if anyone wants to ask their questions specifically verbally, I might need to actually unmute some of you. I think it's probably best if we just have questions written into the questions box. I don't see any questions coming through, so I'm hoping that means we've done a good job in preempting what anyone could be asking. Okay, so here's a question from Jeanette Odendahl. Can I upload my own company workflows and share with others? Yes, you can. Jeanette, you're able to, Nat, maybe if you could put yourself on mute. Thanks. So Jeanette, what you do is you're able to work with us as well as CAD Learning to upload those certain workflows, and we would obviously have to have a look and see what format and what content that is, and then make it available to others. One of the nice things about CAD Learning as well is, I can create a playlist and share it with you. So if I wanted to create a playlist that requires you to learn certain components of Inventor or certain components of Fusion or Revit, I can create that playlist. And if that playlist corresponds with the workflow, then I can share that with you. Naran, you've asked the question about exercise files. I believe there's a lot of content inside CAD Learning from an exercise files perspective. There are exercise files that are available. There's so much content inside CAD Learning. It's actually hard to get it all covered in a 45-minute period, but there's a lot of content, including exercise files inside CAD Learning. Does anybody have any other questions? Does the platform use different learning styles? So, Jeanette, from a learning styles perspective, there are different ways in which you're able to learn. There is generally a video, and the video has a transcript that goes with it. And from a transcript perspective, it would depend on from a learning style perspective what the individual, or rather how the individual consumes the information. There are certain AI functionalities built into CAD Learning. From an expert engagement perspective, there is an Ask CAD Learning function inside CAD Learning, but predominantly it's video and transcript based with multiple different assessments at different stages. So I can do an assessment on wanting to learn, let's say I wanted to learn AutoCAD, I could do an assessment and then it would tell me what courses I need to follow. Those courses generally take the format of a video with the transcript. I'm not sure if that answers your question. If it doesn't answer a question, maybe let me know and we can set up some time to look at what your organization requires more specifically. Does anybody else have any questions? I'm told you're not supposed to have so much dead air, so I'm going to make the assumption that there aren't any more questions. Look, from our perspective, probably one of the most exciting things from a CAD Learning perspective for me is just the accessibility and the fact that given the work from home environment right now, you're able to have multiple people accessing the right information that you need. Yes, you can, Jeanette, you can manage your colleagues' learning paths with the enterprise portal. You're able to track their progress towards those learning paths, and you're also able to integrate CAD Learning into your HR benchmarking platform, because it's about really wanting to make sure that certain teams are benchmarked, and that's why this process of assessment, learning path, and benchmarking along the way is so useful. So I think I'm going to leave the questions open literally for 2 more minutes. If anybody, Jeanette has, I really don't think I'm pronouncing your name properly, I'm sorry. Jeanette seems to have a lot of questions, which is great. I really enjoy the engagement. For someone who's used to spending most of my time in front of customers, it's actually really quite nice to be able to have some form of interaction from a COVID perspective. But I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to say let's not take any more questions, and Natalie, let's move on. Well, for some reason I thought there was one more slide. I'd really just like to take the opportunity to thank all of you for joining us today. I know that taking 45 minutes out of your busy workday is not always easy, and I hope that it proved to be valuable. What we will do is we will make the recording available on it's usually available on the GoToWebinar platform, and also Nancy will be in contact with all of you to make sure that you get a copy of it and to see if there's anything else that we can help you with. But with that, I'm going to close the session and just say thank you very much all again for attending, and have a wonderful afternoon and stay safe.